Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to a spectacular episode of the Codex podcast, the very first annual Codex Awards.
Yep,
I am your
end of the
host,
year.
Jamie Wojcik, and with me, as usual, is Tim Morse.
Hey guys, how's it going?
So, unfortunately, we're missing our third member of our team, Sonny Kruger, but he got some unfortunate news in the family. We're wishing him the best right now, and hope everything gets better. It's starting to look up from what we were told, but we'll have him explain more to you if he wants to. He should be back for the very first episode of the new year, so be on the watch out for that.
Yeah.
But without further ado, the very first annual Codex Awards. Tim, want to give him a little bit of a idea of what we got for him?
Yeah, so this is, like Jamie said, the first annual Codex Awards. And what we're going to do here is we are going to go over the categories that we have. We picked our best three, and it's subjective for us. And these are who we think are the best writers or artists or current series going on, even a legacy award. And we've got a couple other ones in there too. 7 categories total, and that may or may not grow as the years go by. However, with that being said, like I said before, this is subjective to us. This is who we believe deserves the top 3 spots in the industry today. So without further ado, Jamie, we'll go ahead and get this started. So the number 1 category that we have, and this is a perfect thing to start us off. What was the biggest surprise of the year for you? Now, with biggest surprise, that could be anything from movies, video games, comic books, or anything comic book related. So Jamie, you go ahead and tell us what you got for biggest surprise of the year.
So biggest surprise of the year for me is Saga being announced to return next year, 2022 in January. So we only got a couple weeks.
Right.
The reason this is big news for me is because it's been on like a 2-year hiatus. Now, normally when we have like Image Comics or anything else that have longer runs, the creative team will take a couple months off, come out with their next 6 issues, take a couple months off, back and forth. But Saga took 2 years, and they left us on a cliffhanger that would drop many's jaws and be like, I can't wait for next month. And now we've waited 2 years and I need to know what happened. And we're going to find out what happened. I can understand with everything going on with Brian K. Vaughan and Paper Girls getting greenlit for TV adaptation. I believe it is, because Sonny said he was going to try out for it. And all of his other works he was doing to getting greenlit, like Why the Last Man got a shot this year.
1 season.
Yeah, but still a shot, better than nothing. He's been a busy man. So it's nice to see that after all that, he still had time to put into Saga, and he promises another, I think, 54 issues. So let's get cracking.
Well, I love the fact that when he said that they were going to take a break, it's like, guys, we've been telling you the best stories that we can tell you up to this point, and we need a break. We need some time to step back and reevaluate things and continue to tell you the best stories. And unfortunately, that took 2 years, but that's a good thing though, because now that they're back, everybody's happy, everybody's excited. And what did you say the other day? They already had covers and stuff.
Oh, the solicitations, they have all the covers and stuff ready. So I don't know if he's got 6 issues done or all 56.
Right. So yeah, that's big news, big, exciting news.
Very. So Tim, let's hear your surprise.
My biggest surprise of the year has to do with Dark Knights of Steel #1. And that is the reveal that Bruce is the bastard of Jor-El and Martha Wayne. And when Jor-El got that arrow shot right through his eye at the reveal, I think when I read that after I was done doing that, and I did an issue of that for Decoding Panels, and I called you, I was like, dude, have you read this yet? Do you know what's going on? No, I have no idea. Don't tell me.
Yeah, no, I literally, I'm like, dude, I've got like 40 to 50 issues I have to read that I'm backlogged on because I've been working so much. I'm like, I don't. And you're like, no, you have to read it. I'm like, come, let me finish. No, you have to do it now. And then I read it that night, and I'm like, all right, I'm glad you told me to read it. This is amazing.
Yeah, so that's my big reveal for the year. And there were a lot of good things that happened throughout the year, but that just made me stop. I was like, what?
And it's always the end of the year where like you think the biggest surprise happened like in like this past February, and like something comes out last week, and you're just like, nope, that one. Okay.
Well, okay, so let's go ahead and go to category number 2. Now, category number 2 is our top 3 artists of the year. And again, 3 starts it at the bottom, 1 takes it to who we think is the best. And Jamie, I'm going to go ahead and start this one. I'll start with number 3 and then ask you what yours is. So my number 3 artist of the year is Iban Coello for Dark Ages.
That is a great, I do love the artwork on Dark Ages. I think that he hits the cartoonish aspect, but also brings back some nostalgia on those.
Yes.
Oh my God. The way he made Peter Parker look without mascot, to Apocalypse, to hands down.
I love it.
It's a page turner for sure.
Dude, and I said it in my Maw review, which is coming out soon, but like word heavy dialogue story and visual storytelling, I like them both either separate or together, but this is a huge visual story, and Iban Coello's artwork is top notch for Dark Ages. It's fantastic. So who's your number 3?
All right, so at number 3 I have Nic Klein, the man behind Thor, and he has gotten a lot of recognition before with Jason Aaron's run, but him working with Donny Cates right now has been hitting it out of the park.
Nice.
I mean, it's hard. It's talking this much. You got to wonder who my number 2 and my number 1 are. But like, he's put so much little detail into things. Like it's unimaginable. And him drawing Thor as the Herald of Galactus, as like Thor Fabio, was amazing. Like I couldn't help it. Like, it was just great. You had a drunk, disgruntled Thor trying to be a king, and then he's just next minute, he's just Fabio.
That's amazing. That's wonderful. Okay, so my number 2 for the year, number 2 top artist of the year is Francesco Mortorino for Power Rangers. Power Rangers, that is a phenomenal story. Guys, if you aren't reading that, you need to read it. And the artwork in that is absolutely beautiful. I love what Francesco is doing in Power Rangers, and when they go to the hiatus and stuff like that, he nails it right on the head, and it just looks absolutely fantastic. I cannot talk enough about that. His work on Power Rangers, Boom Studios, wonderful stuff. So Jamie, your number 2.
My number 2, people are probably going to give me a lot for this, but I don't care because it's my pick and not yours. So leave the hate in the comments, and I'll argue with you later. Is Jorge Jimenez, the man behind Batman. Especially the Joker War stuff. Though I watched so many interviews on him because his work has been amazing up to this point. But his portrayal of like the Joker, Harley Quinn, Batman, the whole Bat family, like everything is drawn amazingly, and it just makes, I don't know, it makes me feel feelings I never thought I'd feel before. Like, even now they just had a new creative team take over with Joshua Williams taking held, and trying to remember who that's how bad it is. I don't even remember who the artist was, but you could just, the feel of the book doesn't run the same. Like, this is one of those ones that's going to take time to kind of like add in, like,
so I was going to ask you that too, like what the difference is between the old creative team and the new creative team.
So with Jimenez, it felt like you were getting a newer rendition of Batman. Like, you were getting that more Batfleck, but this feels like you're going backwards in time to where you're getting just a stockier Keaton.
I gotcha.
It's like they've tried to put abs on Adam West. Like, that's how I feel. Like, I don't really, one issue hasn't done enough for me to make a decision, but back to Jimenez, like his work, his one dream, he wants to be drawing on Superman regularly. Give the man the job.
See, and that makes me curious what your number 1 pick's going to be.
Yeah, it's definitely different. I'll give you guys this.
All right. So with that being said, we'll go to my number 1, and my number 1 pick for Artist of the Year for the Codex Awards is Yasmine Putri with Dark Knights of Steel. Like I said before, my big surprise was the event with Bruce Wayne and Jor-El getting shot in the eye. The artwork in Dark Knights of Steel is phenomenal. It is Kryptonian in how awesome it looks. It's wonderful. It's amazing. I love the attention to detail, the facial expressions, the way that he makes the people move and things like that. It absolutely looks beautiful. And that gets my number one pick for the year.
That is one of the ones that I gotta say is it does look beautiful. There's a sense of like realism in it.
Yeah,
it really does. Like it's like cartoon, but like when it comes to a full like face pan or pan away or whatever it may be, like if they're having a conversation, you can see some realism in it and cartoon.
Well, it's like there was this one scene in issue number 2 where after the events of what took place in issue 1, they're talking in the King's Court in the courtroom and stuff like that, and somebody said Bruce needs to be here for this, and Kal-El was like, Bruce isn't family. Bruce does not belong here. This is not for Bruce. And the way that they had Kal-El look, holy smokes, dude, that looked absolutely, you could see the tension there. Like his dad just died and he doesn't know that Bruce is a bastard of Martha Wayne and things like that. And you can see it there. It was absolutely incredible. So with that being said, your number one, Jamie.
All right, guys, for my number one, it is Lorenzo De Felici. He is the artist on Oblivion Song. If you guys have not checked this out, we are at issue like 36, 37, or 38 at this point. We're almost in the 40s. It's been an ongoing long series, and every single issue has been beautiful. Nice. I got Tim actually the first volume of the trade for Christmas because I told him, like, you have to flip through this. Don't even read it. I'm like, just flip through the art.
Yep, just look at it first. Okay, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, and he did, and you give
it looks amazing. Like that's what I did. As soon as I got it, I told you, Jamie, I got your gift. Well, go ahead and flip through it real quick. And by God, I did, and it looks wonderful. And like I said, visual storytelling is something that I really, really enjoy, and I think I'm going to really get into Oblivion Song.
Yeah, and there's a lot of that and a lot of those stories. There's some word heavy issues, but a lot of the issues are just art driven. And It tells the story, and it's just great.
I love that. All right, so let's go ahead and do our top 3 writers of the year. Jamie, why don't you go ahead and start that off?
All right, I got a big one for number 3, so I'm really blowing the roof off of this one. At number 3, I have Donnie Cates, the writer of Venom Ended. Between that, we had Thor still going on. We have Crossover, and it isn't even before his Marvel work. Crossover has been simply just amazing. It hasn't stopped being good. And this last issue that I just read, ladies and gentlemen, spoiler alert, he put himself in the issue.
I'm not caught up on Crossover yet.
Well, then start reading.
I am. I'm like 10 issues in.
It isn't much, but they just put him in the issue. There's a reason why. I'm not going to give the reason why. But it's hilarious. There's one line, they're like, what self-indulgent writer would put himself in a book? And they're like, the man that started this all, Donny Cates. And he's just sitting there. So yeah, it isn't just for, but his work on Venom, his work right now, that Incredible Hulk after that first issue and the second issue, I want more. Every time.
Well, you've been talking about Cates all year too.
And because he's been putting out so much, and half of his stuff, like he puts out, like I'm like, hey, I'll probably check it out. And I ended up getting on my list, and then I end up never taking it off because the writing's just that good. So
right on. Well, that's good. That's a great choice.
Who do you got for number 3?
So my number 3 for writer of the year is Bill Willingham with Batman versus Bigby. Or Bigby, I'm sorry.
Bigby. Yeah, that's a toss right there, man.
Dude, his work on Fables is fantastic. I love that. My friend Sean, a guy I do role playing with, one of my best friends, he lent me the first trade for Fables, and I read that and fell in love with it. And I didn't read a whole lot more beyond that. But as soon as I saw that Batman vs. Bigby was coming out, that went on my pull list, and I have not been disappointed yet. I'm really glad that when he came back into that world, he pulled Batman into that. So seeing them two interact is wonderful to me to see. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the remainder of the series. So yeah, that gets my number 3, Bill Willingham with Batman vs. Bigby. Jamie, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is, again, I'm pulling up. See, everyone's going to give me a lot of comments about this, and I don't care. It's James Tynion IV. He wrote for Batman, but I'm not talking about Batman. I'm talking about Something is Killing the Children, House of Slaughter. I'm talking about The Nice House on the Lake. I'm talking about the Jim Gordon book they titled The Joker, because if it was called Jim Gordon, probably nobody read it. But the man has been doing so much work creating a new breath of fresh air into old and new. You can't really knock his writing style, and he's put new characters out for Batman. He's put this basically fall in love with apocalyptic, horror again, but this is taking place in Wisconsin. So if I ever find that house on the lake, I'm making sure I don't go there. But no, he makes a perfect blend between him and whoever he complements, whoever his artist is, which is amazing. I love. So yeah, at number 2, I got James Tynion IV, and I mean, I am a fan of the Batman series. If you can't tell, it's right there. That one. I did that Sunny thing where he's like in the videos. Boop.
Wolverine, right?
Yeah.
There.
Exactly. So at number 2, who do you have, Tim?
So this is kind of a no-brainer. That's going to be Ryan Parrott for Power Rangers with Boom Studios. Dude, you and I
did a whole review because he writes for Mighty Morphin. And if you don't know, I take Mighty Morphin. He takes Power Rangers for the reviews. And yeah, I got to agree.
I cannot talk enough about how good Power Rangers is. Parrott's writing style is absolutely fantastic. I really, really dig it. The scenes with the action are wonderful. The scenes that are more story driven are absolutely wonderful too. And that bit that he wrote between Jason and Trini, where it planted the seeds for something that could blossom into something more, wonderful. Absolutely love it. And I love that he made Trini more of a powerhouse than she was before, at least in the live action show. She is, at least to me, the way that he wrote her, she is as important as Jason is as far as a leadership role goes. And I really, really dig that. And it wasn't a forced transition or anything like that. It was just like, Jason's in charge, Jason leads, but Trini leads too. And when she does, she takes the reins and she goes. Wonderful work. So yeah, Ryan Parrott gets my number 2 for Power Rangers.
That Who's is your number 1 pick? Oh, boys and girls, please sit down because you're about to be amazed by all the killing. My number 1 is Tom Taylor. This man can destroy a universe in a heartbeat and make you bleed from your own heart while reading it. He has done great work with everything he's put out with Deceased. I think he had Deceased Dead Planet this year, which was a current series this past year. He's had Dark Ages. He's working on Dark Knights of Steel, if I'm not mistaken.
That man has his pen in a lot.
Oh my God. And that's a lot of pun intended. But no, Tom Taylor's put out so much good work. And but to me, because I am a DC boy at the end of the day, no matter what anyone says, I am going to have to go and say his Nightwing current storyline is probably the best Nightwing I've read.
I haven't read that yet, but it's on my list.
Oh man, it is. It is something to be amazed.
I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised at my number 1.
It's Tom Taylor, isn't it?
It absolutely is Tom Taylor. Yeah, my number 1 is Tom Taylor for everything. Like Dark Ages, dude, his work on Dark Ages, his work on Dark Knights of Steel, Deceased, anything this man touches, I have not read a bad page from him yet. So
he's also choosing got, Superman, Son of Superman.
Dude, oh yeah, Superman son of Kal-El.
Yeah.
Yeah, his work on that is wonderful too. Just Tom Taylor, you can't say much more than that. Everybody knows, what we're talking about. So
it's just Tom Taylor.
That's a unanimous right there. Tom
Yeah.
Taylor for number 1 writer of the year. Fantastic. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our next one, which is going to be series red for the year.
Now I'm gonna preface this real fast, and I took all these from the Codex podcast reviews that we've done.
Oh, okay.
So I kind of switched it up a bit because a lot of these were older. So I was like, we've read them this year. They still count.
Right on. Okay, so with that, Jamie, what's your number 3 series read this year?
At number 3, I got Luthor.
No kidding.
I it's one of those books I had to go back and reread. After the fact we did the podcast and the review on it, and I really do enjoy it. Like I enjoy the especially seeing Sonny's monologue with him doing the Luthor monologue. It was just great. But with Luthor, it was a different depiction of a character that we never really get to see a side of other than the bad side.
Azzarello does wonderful work, and I haven't read Luthor yet. I'm saving it for when I do it on decoding panels so I can get the full effect of that. But who's the artist that he has doing that too? Because it's the same guy that he usually has.
I actually gave it marks because of the fact that I don't know what the artist was doing when they drew Alfred. Like they just like threw ink on, like it was like a Rorschach painting with Alfred, and it was just I don't know, but that was the only downfall I saw in it. But yeah, with that, dude, what's your number 3? I want to hear this.
You're not gonna like it.
If it's Punisher Circle of Blood, I quit.
It is Punisher Circle of Blood is my number 3.
Is it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God.
And the reason for that is because of how much fun I had doing it for decoding panels. So Sonny, you get my number 3 spot, Punisher Circle of Blood. I had a ball doing that whole series. The series itself is, to me and to you, Jamie, it's not really the greatest Punisher story ever written. Sonny will disagree, but with the amount of fun that I had doing each issue, I had to put it on my list. So Punisher.
Okay,
you know what?
I will give you this, that since you did make it sound awesome, you had fun, so I'll give you that. But if it was just because you read it and thought it was your number 3,
no.
I'd stop this episode so fast and edit it and make you repick your 3.
The only reason it got my number 3, like when I was making this list, I was like, what am I going to put on? I was like, it's got to be Circle of Blood. It has to be. I had so much fun doing it. So yeah, Circle of Blood. What's your number 2?
Okay, my number 2 is part of a series, but it's technically single issues.
Okay.
My number 2 is What If Wolverine Became Lord of the Vampires?
Hey, right on.
Our number 1 video on our page right now with decoding panels, by the way.
Yeah.
I thought when you and Sonny told me about this, because you guys were like fangirling over it.
You have to read it.
When Sonny gave me Circle of Blood and then he gave me this, I thought I was gonna hate it.
I think that was the first issue I ever suggested to you guys too.
Yes, it was. And I thought, and that's the first episode we brought you on, I think.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was definitely it was definitely different. I gave it a 10 out of 10 on the review.
Wonderful.
I think that was my first 10 out of 10 I gave. Aside, I think the one that Sonny had picked and you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I thought it was just like one of the best single issues I've read. I don't really, for those, if you watch any of the episodes of the Codex podcast, I don't like the X-Men, I would say. I'm not putting that like meanly. I just couldn't stand, not Claremont, but all the words, they make my head hurt. But no, I've read X-Men. I like the Astonishing, but reading this What If like really turned me back on to, hey, I do like that. I like some of the X-Men. So let's keep going with it. So what do you got for number
2? My number 2 is Crossover. Crossover is my number 2.
You're
that
welcome.
was exactly, that was per your recommendation, and I think after I had done a whole chunk of decoding panel stuff, I was like, I gotta clean the palette. I gotta sit down. I gotta read something that's not even on the list. And I remember what you had said. You're like, you gotta read Crossover, dude. You gotta read it. And I got in there and started reading it. And I think I stopped reading at like 3 a.m, and I was on issue 6. I was like, I gotta go to bed, but I don't want to because I want to continue to read this. Crossover is amazing. Absolutely love it. That's a series that I'm actively trying to catch up on, and it has garnered a lot of my attention. I love the cameo bits from characters all over the place.
Wait until you get to issue 9. I'm just letting you know. Well, issue 8 and 9. 8 and 9, your mind will literally explode.
I'm all over that. Okay, so Jamie, your number 1 series or single issue you've read for the year.
Okay, so one that I have the single issue of it, but I never read the arc overall.
Okay.
And I always beat myself up because I was always trying to get the 1 issue because it was the first appearance of Dick Grayson in Nightwing costume, and that is the Judas Contract.
Very nice.
And I never got a chance to actually read the full story. And then Sonny's like, that's what we're doing for a review. And I was like, all right, awesome. And I absolutely loved it. Like I've seen every rendition of it. I've just never read it.
Right.
And reading it was a different story, man. Like then compared to seeing everything else that like medium wise that they had out for it.
I haven't read Judas Contract in a long time. So and that's on our list for decoding panels too. So going into that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, very, very much.
Okay, so
I want that drum roll, man. I want to know what number 1 is.
My number 1 series and or single issues for the year is going to be Blackest Night.
Ooh.
Blackest Night. And Jamie, again, that's thanks to you. So that's something.
You're welcome. I'm full of like fun. When it comes to comics, people are like, what should I read? And I'm like, oh my God, you just opened a new world.
That's something that you chose for us to do on a later episode for review for Codex. And I think I said at the end of whatever episode it was that I hadn't read it in a long, long time. And I sat down and started reading it not too long ago and blasted through it. And I think I even said to you the other day, I was like, dude, I haven't read this in a while, and this is absolutely unreal. Like what you were saying, where Jeff Johns wanted to bring back Hal Jordan, he absolutely did that. And if you guys haven't read Blackest Night in a while, you need to go back and revisit it because it is absolutely phenomenal. And I loved the fact, I was sitting there reading it and I was like, where in the heck is Superman? Where in the heck is Wonder Woman?
They're all gone.
And
it's all the sidekicks.
Yeah. And as you're reading it, you're wondering where they are, but your attention is pulled in the direction of Green Lantern and all the other characters and things like that. And then when Superman does show up, you're like, yeah, finally. But no, not finally, because those black rings get thrown on him and done, gone.
Done.
Like, what?
But yeah, a lot of people like anything Jeff Johns touched up until New 52 was pure bliss. And
well, even in New 52 when he did Sinestro Wars. Right? Or was that pre?
No, that was pre.
Was it? Okay.
That was actually part before the Blackest Night. That was his whole run leading into Blackest Night with Sinestro Wars. And that was fantastic. Like that whole series from start to end was just a moniker of what that man should be statused for, like his accomplishment in life.
But when they went to do New 52, wasn't it Snyder and Johns that were like, our stories aren't going to change. They're going to continue as but New 52 doesn't exist. There's some stories that just had a minor tweak. But a lot of them had like a reopening. I know with who was the writer? Vendetti was the writer for Green Lantern at that time. Okay.
And he's a great writer too. But without being said, Blackest Night.
Okay.
Amazing
all right.
choice.
So
I can't say that because I read it when it came out.
So now we're going to go to our current series, our top 3 current series. Now, with this criteria, these series have to be active or
Yes.
current or active for the year of 2021. Now I've
like
got
going into, so if
Yeah.
it's like issue 35 and it's still running, that's
Yep.
still technically a current
these
series.
these have to be current series. So I'm going to go ahead and start that off, Jamie. My number 3 current series for Codex Awards 2021 is TMNT The Last Ronin.
Ooh, see, now if it was 5, it'd be on there. It would be on there for me.
I had to pick this dude. This series is something else, and I think we're all far enough into it. We're 4 issues into the series right now, and we all know who the last Ronin is. And
Keanu Reeves.
Do you know or do you not know?
I know enough. No, I'm kidding. I know who it is.
Okay, so yeah, that was a surprise to me when I read that and figured it out. I tried really hard to stay away from spoilers.
I stay away from spoilers, but as soon as that book got put out and they said there was one left, I knew exactly who it was, because you wouldn't.
How did you figure that out?
Because you wouldn't make it the smartest, the leader, or the guy that's got rage issues. You'd want to throw him off. You'd want to throw the audience off.
Okay, I get it.
So it'd be Mikey.
I get it. Absolutely.
Mikey would have to be the killer.
Yeah. And the way he is in The Last Ronin versus who he was before, dude, very, very good. All right. So your current series, what do you have for number 3?
Because it blew me away, even with only 2 issues, right now at number 3 is Dark Knights of Steel.
Yeah.
And I say that because it's Game of Thrones meets Injustice meets DC lore we never seen before.
Yes.
And I just can't get past it. And I think that, like you said, it was a big surprise.
Yeah.
If this was continuity, I think people would lose their ever mind.
Well, wait a minute. Didn't you tell me something earlier in the year?
I'm not saying anything.
Okay. All right.
I don't want to yet.
Fair enough.
Because if something happens, we're going to be the first ones to jump out and say we knew.
Right on. Okay.
So back the truck up just a little bit right here. We're good.
So Dark Knights of Steel is your number 3.
Yes, it is.
Okay. You want to guess what my number 2 is?
Your number 2?
Yeah.
Dark Ages.
Dark Knights of Steel.
Ooh.
Dark Knights of Steel is my number 2. So it goes up one step above what you have. And the only the reason is, I mean, it's a fantastic read. We're 2 issues in so far for the series. My big surprise for the year, Yasmine Putri with the artwork, Tom Taylor with the writing. Guys, Dark Knights of Steel, if you're not on it, you need to get on it. This is the series that's going to be talked about, and it's 12 issues. So,
and the B variants look amazing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. I am a B variant hoarder. I will collect them. I will buy them with that extra $1 every time.
Right on. Okay, so let's go ahead with your number 2.
My number 2 is actually a good number 2. My number 2 is Crossover.
Ooh, right on. Okay.
And I picked that because Donny Cates got to play with a broken chest of toys and bring them back to life.
Very much.
And he did just that with cameos of every hero from every. You can't take their likeness, but you can make them look like them.
Well, what, that one scene where he had all the arms hanging out?
Spawn, Flash,
yeah,
Superman, all of it.
Yeah.
Killing writers for mysterious reasons and trying to figure out what happened. Like
Brian K. Vaughan died because of that. They quoted him as a Marvel writer. Come on.
Jeff Johns is dead. Got decapitated. Chip Zdarsky died of his own good looks at one point. I think.
Oh my God.
I don't know. But no, Crossover with Donny Cates has been something that I've been leaning on for a while. Okay. I know he had some. He's been trying to find a way to be not creative, because you can't really say that because the guy's creative as it comes, but he tried to take something different. He didn't want the same format, and he did just that by taking his old characters, bringing them new life that he never got to play with. He brought characters from everybody. He got the rights from everybody to allow them to give him characters to play with that never got a chance to shine.
I love that he brought his team in that he created. I think it was an old Image title or an old Dark Horse title, one of the two.
Dark Horse.
Yeah, and he's like, here's this team that you've never heard of before.
Yeah, and everyone thinks
I love it.
My favorite part, I won't give too much away, but my favorite part is when LA thinks, oh my God, Superman walking through the door right now. And it's, oh my God, I almost died.
I thought it was Superman too. So,
all right. So crossovers at my number 2. I'm going to guess I know what your number 1 is, but I'm not going to say it.
My number 1 is for current series is Power Rangers.
I knew it.
Power Rangers is my current. I think I even said that in our review episode for the Power Rangers storyline, that this is one of the best titles that I have read in a long time. And I thought it was a serious contender for title of the year for me. So yeah, after thinking long and hard about it, between Dark Knights of Steel and Power Rangers, as much as I love Dark Knights of Steel, I had to give it to Power Rangers. Had to.
Yeah, and I agree with that pick. Now, you picked Power Rangers, and I had my Morphin. I fell into this at, I think, the wrong time. Because my Morphin didn't make my list.
Oh, okay. So what's your number 1 then? I'm very curious about that.
My number 1 comic series that I've been reading is Radiant Black.
Really?
Yes, it is 100% it's Power Rangers on steroids.
Okay.
And when I say that, the best part about it is, I don't know why, I kind of have like a soft spot for it, because it takes place in my old hometown of Lockport, Illinois.
Right on. Okay.
Like, they have everything drawn out from Lockport, and Kyle Higgins is the writer. He grew up out there. We got Marcelo Costa doing the artwork on it. Everything looks amazing. Everything's drawn well. The story's told great. Like, just seeing, like, being so far away from my hometown, but getting to see it in a different light, drawn. Like, they had this bar, Embers, that they did, and they're in there drinking, and the whole bar looks like I was in there. It was just, I mean, I've been pitched out black drunk in there, but that's not the point. We're not gonna talk about that here. So
this is a family show.
Yeah, but when I mean drunk, I meant I drank too much chocolate. I got chocolate milk wasted. Sorry, guys and girls. But
for all our hydro homies out there, stay hydrated.
Got that water, H2O, high quality. But no, they just drew everything perfect, and the way the story's leaning right now, there's so much going on and so many more elements. I can't wait for it. And they're going to be crossing over with another series in Image.
Really? Okay.
Yes. So we're having a crossover of a crossover for Radiant Black.
That's amazing. That they don't usually do that with Image titles.
Nope.
And that's really cool. Do you know what title they're crossing over with?
I forget the name of it, because it's going to be a starting title. It isn't something that's spinning out of this.
Okay.
There's a title that's starting, and they're going to meet.
Now, Radiant Black, is that Skybound? Is that Kirkman's?
No.
Somebody else. Okay, right on.
This is all straight Higgins writing.
Okay,
and who also wrote for Power Rangers. So, and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers when that was the title. Yeah. But yeah, I think he took a lot of things he wanted to write his version of Power Rangers and made this, and it was just perfect.
Right on. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've got 2 categories left, and our next category to jump into is Top Publisher of the Year. Yeah. So, I mean, that's self-explanatory, who we think are the top 3 publishers of the year, putting out consistent storylines, consistent books, great artwork, things like that. So my number 3 for top publisher of the year goes to IDW. And the reason for that, heavy-handed, is The Last Ronin and the Ninja Turtles ongoing series, along with the work that they did on Transformers and G.I. Joe, which unfortunately they're going to lose soon. But I think with those 3 properties, they've done a lot of great work, Ninja Turtles especially. And I think that above all other publishing companies, aside from my 2 and my 1, I think they're putting out consistently good material. And I hope to see more from them next year.
I do like that pick. I almost had them at number 3.
Really? Okay, so who do you have at number 3?
At my number 3, I have Image Comics.
Image, okay, right on.
Yes, I have Image because they have put out some great work. They never cease to amaze me how great they can make a story in 6 issues. That is my one biggest feat is how do you tell a complete story in 6 issues and 4 to 6 issues at that? And Image always finds a way. Now it could be an arc that turns into a lengthy ongoing series, or it could just be something that's so great it just stays at 4 issues. But with their work of putting out, things like Oblivion Song, Saga, all just a plethora of big names. Those 2 being top, it never stops. And
Image is the king of mini and maxi series. I'll give him that.
Their ongoing still blow me away. So,
okay, so my number 2 for top publisher for the Codex Awards goes to Boom Studios.
And the funny thing is that is my number 2 as well.
That's wonderful. Okay, so Jamie, your words said it best as far as Boom, and that is they are in a renaissance right now, and I think that is word perfect for what they're doing. The stuff that they're putting out, I think, is leaps and bounds better than what a lot of the big 3 puts out. And they have definitely caught my attention this year with the titles that I've read so far, Ma being one of those, and the Power Rangers stuff. I mean, it's just insane the things that they're putting out. And I don't think their train is going to stop anytime soon. And I think next year is going to be an even bigger year for them.
I predict that at end of next year, they will be my number 1 publisher on this list.
Okay.
And I think that they're going to be everyone's number 1 publisher by the end. With the work they're putting out, something is killing the children. Mighty Morphin, Power Rangers, Ma, Eat the Rich, was that other Beyond? I can't remember it, but House of Slaughter. And
you got Buffy the Last Vampire Slayer coming out next year too.
Buffy the Last Vampire Slayer, Buffy's Anniversary. There's so much that they're put. The Lost Body of Oswald. I can't remember his last name. There's I can keep going. It's not going to make sense because I can't remember half the names even on the DC side. So, but they've been hitting on all cylinders, and it has not stopped. And I can't wait to see what they do next.
Right on. I hear that. So, okay. With that being said, let me go ahead and go with my number 1 for the year. And I apologize for my dog barking in the background. She barks when the wind blows wrong. So, but my number 1 publisher of the year for the Codex Awards is DC.
You know what's funny about that?
Is that your number 1 too?
My number 1 too.
That's wonderful.
We had the same besides 3.
Right.
I almost had IDW at 3 too. We would have had the same exact list.
That's crazy. I think DC is blowing Marvel out of the water right now. I think with Marvel, the stuff that they're putting out, it's
they're
not
trying
bad.
to stick something to a wall and it isn't sticking. Like the stuff that
Spider-Man's
Donny
the only one that
Cates
can do that.
Yeah, and Venom. Anything Donny Cates
and Carnage,
Al Ewing, and you can't even say Jason Aaron's anymore because everyone hates his Avengers run. But like those 2 in just general, like those 2 are putting out quality work, and it's like everybody else is kind of falling behind.
Yep. So with DC, I mean, Superman, Son of Kal-El, Dark Knights of Steel, Batman, Nightwing, Justice League. Dude, all of their titles are hits right now.
Even their Black Label stuff. We got one Dark Knight that came out this week with Jock coming back with art and written by. I mean, right now, DC is my front runner, and I don't see them losing that title.
I don't think so either.
Until maybe mid next year.
Yeah.
They got a lot of good stuff coming out. They just ended Fear State with Batman. They just I mean, even like the small things, they got like Lobo Crush series. They got a Green Arrow and Aquaman that's doing well. Like, who would think of those?
Booster and Booster and Gold or Beetle
Blue,
and Gold.
yeah,
Blue and Gold. Yeah. Yeah.
Booster and Booster and Blue Beetle, Ted Cord
Yeah.
and I can't remember his name. Blue Beetle or
Yeah.
Booster Gold, whatever. But no, it's just they can't miss right now. They're everything they're getting thrown at, they're knocking out of the park. And it's just you can throw every cliche at this right now, and it just sounds great.
Well, I mean, they're one of the top 3 for a reason, and as far as Codex is concerned, they're number 1 this year. So yeah, everything they're doing right now. I mean, yeah, they have some misses, but a lot of the stuff they're doing are hits. And, and I think that shows in comic sales and speculation and just overall buzz and talk that's been going on over the course of the year. Yeah, DC's my number 1. So, okay, let's go ahead and give a recap real quick. So for the biggest surprise of the year, mine was Jor-El being shot in the eye, along with Bruce Wayne being revealed as the bastard son of Martha Wayne and Jor-El. And your big reveal or big surprise of the year
was Saga coming back in January.
There you go.
After 2-year hiatus.
Yep. Now, my top 3 artists of the year are Iban Coello with Dark Ages, Francesco Mortorino with Power Rangers, and Yasmine Putri with Dark Knights of Steel. And your number 3?
My number 3 was Nic Klein, followed by number 2 is Jorge Jimenez, and number 1 is Lorenzo De Felici.
Fantastic. And my writers of the year, top 3 writers of the year, I have Bill Willingham with Batman vs. Bigby, Ryan Parrott with Power Rangers, and Tom Taylor with Everything.
Yes. My number 3 was Donny Cates with crossover, Thor, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Hulk now. James Tynion IV with The Nice House on the Lake.
Mm-hmm.
Something is Killing Children, House of Slaughter, Batman. And number 1 for me was Tom Taylor with Killing Everybody. It's great.
That's right. Our top 3 series read for the year. Mine was Jamie's favorite, Punisher Circle of Blood, crossover, and Blackest Night. Your top 3?
I forgot my train of thought after that. Every time someone says it, I just lose a brain cell. My top 3, number 3 was Luthor. Number 2 was What If Wolverine was Lord of the Vampires. And number 1 was the Judas Contract.
Right on. And my top 3 current series for the year, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin, Dark Knights of Steel, and Power Rangers. And your number 3?
Mine was Dark Knights of Steel at number 3. Number 2 was Crossover. Number 1 for me was Radiant Black.
Right on. And finally, top publishers of the year. My number 3 is IDW. My number 2 is Boom Studios. And my number 1 is DC Comics.
Take that list and just change out IDW for Image, and you have the same list.
There you go. Okay, so we are at our last category for the Codex Awards, and this is our Legacy Award. Now, our Legacy Award is who we feel deserves to be recognized as one of the greatest in comic book anything. That would be a writer, an artist, an inker, a letterer, an editor, whoever,
a personality.
That's right. Whoever we feel deserves to be recognized that has contributed an enormous amount to the comic book industry. And this year it was a no-brainer for who we chose as our Legacy Award. And that would be the immortal George Perez.
Yes. And with the sad news of his diagnosis and how much longer he has, we both thought here at the Codex podcast and Codex in general that this man deserved it.
It had to be. I think that was the only name that came up. Jamie, who should we do for Legacy? It's got to be George. Definitely.
It's got to be George.
Yeah.
That man led an industry to what it is today. I don't think you could talk to any penciler, inker, artist in general that doesn't have some inspiration of him in their work. Just like when you talk about Jack Kirby or anybody else, you always find some kind of symbolism that comes from their work transferring into yours, even if it was starting off by tracing his work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with Perez, you have the numerous amounts of stuff he did for DC. That would be Crisis on Infinite Earths being one of those. His work on Wonder Woman is
Titans.
Top notch. Titans, absolutely. And anything else that man has put pencil to paper on, and then his work with Marvel, with the Avengers, with the first half of Infinity Gauntlet, what he did, which we reviewed not too long ago, Incredible Hulk, Future Imperfect. Yeah, absolutely. George Perez.
Half my wall is George Perez. I just realized
George Perez's work is very unique. I don't think I've seen a style similar to his on anybody, and his attention to detail is very consistent. And yeah, it's just wonderful. If you've never met the man, you're missing out. I met him once at a convention in Chicago, and he took the time out to stop and talk to my kids and make them feel very welcome and warm. And him and I had a great short conversation, and it was absolutely wonderful. That man was just a joy to stand there and talk to for 20 minutes. And it's something I'll never forget.
Yeah, I remember seeing him at the C2E2 that he was at, because he said his eyes were going.
Yeah.
And that line, man, oh, it was not one that you wanted to wait for.
No.
Like, as soon as you walked into the convention, you know where you were going.
Yeah, George Perez. Yeah, when I went to Chicago, as I had done my research before to see who was on there, George Perez is going to be there. I'm bringing my Infinity Gauntlet #1.
Oh yeah. No, you brought everything you could. I think I brought Crisis on Infinite Earths 8, the Flash cover.
Yeah, I had the cover with all the villains for Crisis, I believe, is the one that I had him sign at a different time, different convention.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, our Legacy Award once again for the Codex Awards goes to George Perez.
The man, the myth, the immortal.
That's right. Absolutely. Okay. So, Jamie.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yes, I do. I know the Dolphin Man. But no, we do know what time it is for. We had a little bit of fun with the awards. Hope you guys enjoyed it. But now we're going to get into a little bit of Do You Know for those of you that want to stick around and watch the rest of this. So this week, obviously, we don't have Sonny here. So it's just going to be me versus Tim. All of my questions are based off my #1 publisher. So all my questions are based off DC.
All mine are Codex podcast based, so I hope you know your history.
I no. No. It's gonna be like, what date did you hire me?
That was gonna be one of my questions.
What color are my eyes? You're gonna be like the worst date. Yeah, ever.
Well, all right, Jamie, you go ahead and take it away.
You want me to start this one off?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. We all know that Superman is the staple of DC.
Mm-hmm.
But do you know how much it cost DC Comics to purchase the rights for Superman?
Like when, though?
This is back in 1938.
I'm going to say $1,000.
Final answer.
Yes, final answer, $1,000.
$130.
Are you kidding me? Oh my God.
Yeah, no, the creators of Superman needed the money at the time, so they sold the rights for $130 as long as they could still work on the project.
Wow. And you see all the lawyer troubles they have now. And yeah, okay. Right on. All right. So no points for me. Jamie, let's see if you know your Codex lore as well as you think you do. All right. So my first question for Do You Know is, Jamie, do you know what the third most popular video on Codex is currently?
Sonny's promo.
Sonny's promo, final answer?
Sonny's promo, because #1 is What If and #2 is Dark Ages.
You are correct, sir. All right.
I see. I have to look at YouTube every day. I know that. So #2. So comics don't get enough of a recognition as they should in the world of medium, but now we're starting to grow a little bit. So I want to know, do you know what DC comic is the first and only to win a World Fantasy Award for Best Short Story? If you can guess just the name of the series, you don't have to give me the issue. I have the issue number, but if you can just give me the name of the series, I'll give you the point.
a World Fantasy Award for Best Short Story.
Yes.
I want to say it has something to do with Adam Strange. Strange Adventures or Strange Tales. I think Strange Adventures. That's what I'm going to go with.
Final answer?
Yep.
No. It's the Sandman. And its particular issue was Sandman issue 19 by Neil Gaiman.
Oh, my Lord. Okay.
Because that is the biggest fantasy world you will ever see. It is one of the most pivotal books you need to read if you're going to get into comics.
See, I'm going way back, way back.
Yeah, because everything didn't win awards back then.
Right. Okay, so my number 2, Jamie, and this one you should know. If you don't know, then we're going to reevaluate your contract.
I started the company where no one's really...
What episode number of the Codex podcast did I officially join?
Did you officially join?
Officially join the Circle of 3, not before doing decoding panels or anything like that.
20.
Final answer?
Let me think. Yeah, because it was the first big. Yeah, we surprised you.
Is episode 22.
22?
22.
Sure?
100%. Go ahead and look.
No, 22. We brought you on for the episode, and then we brought you back for 22 for the for your review.
For 22 was the official introduction of me as the third co-host on the Codex podcast.
Funny thing is, I just finally changed that you're no longer a special guest on our credits. Last episode was the first one.
On the Twitter one, it says 3 guys that argue about things now instead of just 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was
close. Go ahead. Yeah, you were
all right. 20s. All right.
Yeah.
So we all know Wonder Woman is a staple of female empowerism.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the word. When it comes to DC, and entitles more, women's rights and everything that has to go with it. But do you know in the 1940s, there was a different name for Wonder Woman that was pitched? What was that name?
I have no idea. I'm going to say that right now. The mediocre Star-Spangled Adventuress.
No. Suprema.
But Supremo.
Suprema. They got rid of that because it was too close to Superman. But it was
I can see it.
At first, that was the first pitch that they had named. And that was in 1941. 1941.
Wow. I'm glad they went with Wonder Woman.
Yeah, so am I.
Okay, so Jamie, this one is an open-ended question for you for number 3. What was your favorite part of the Codex podcast this year?
Oh, so I can answer whatever I want.
Yeah. and you get a point for that.
Yeah. I didn't know that if we had open-ended questions, I would have been like, what's your favorite thing about me?
No.
No.
What other things are your favorites?
Yeah. Long walks on the beaches, reading comics in the sand.
Favorite moment of Codex so far this year?
God, I'd have to say our growth. And I'm not talking about subscribers. I'm not talking about people viewing. I'm talking about how we grew as a team.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we've had some ups and downs as a team, but we always bring ourselves and lift each other up at the end. I was just talking to Sonny about this today. Well, before we got on the show. We've had, when we started, it was just gonna be a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I had ideas to go with decoding panels and a couple other things, especially one shots. One shots was an early development thing, but I didn't have a name for it. And one shots originally supposed to be underrated artists and people that needed to make a name for themselves. And Sonny was like, do it. He's like, I'm busy with series by series, but if we could find somebody, it'd be great. Then we found you for decoding panels. You came on, a blast to work with, as much as it's not true.
Don't listen to him, ladies and gentlemen. He may or may not be under the influence of over-the-counter medication.
Yes. Lots of NyQuil. If you haven't noticed, I still sound nasally. But no, everything that we've done so far from we had our first interview. Yeah. I mean, Sonny snagged that out of thin air. It's those little things that make me proud, like that make me happy that I didn't sleep a whole weekend to get stuff done. That I work full time and then do this full time and still find time to enjoy myself a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's just, our growth as a whole team has been my favorite part. Like I said, I told Sonny when we were talking today, because he said, Codex podcast is his favorite thing that he's done. And I don't know, I think he meant this wise, not books, because I know he's got a lot of books that he does love, that he wrote. But as far as, doing something, he does love this. And I think the moment we see this as work and not something we love to do, that's the moment that we need to stop. And we haven't had that moment yet.
No.
I mean, yeah, granted, I do look at it as a potential job one day, hopefully, but it's not work.
Now, if you don't mind, I will say this. Since I've been on with Codex, it's been a wild ride from start to right this moment.
Right.
And I have been privileged enough to be brought into a very small circle of two best friends. And I've watched two best friends love each other and butt heads. And we have all three together made it to where we are today. And I feel honored and privileged to be a part of this team. And I love working with you guys. Love Sonny, love you to death. You guys know my kids. And that's not something that I let people do easily. And my kids warmed up to you very quickly.
Yeah, shout out to Ethan. He was in the corner of the screen. Blurring in because he knows I'm on screen right now.
Yep. And with Sonny too, they always ask me how you guys are doing. They always ask me when the podcast is going to be coming on. And when you do Codex Gaming on Twitch, Ethan's laying on the floor watching every minute of it. Dad, I can't get up right now. I got to watch Codex. But
jumping in the chat being like, put that outfit on and keep it on the entire time.
But working with you guys, this brought back my love for comic books and doing decoding panels. Even though you and I disagree on some things sometimes, the end result is exactly where we all three have talked about it wanting to be. And I love the fact that even though we all don't agree on everything, we agree on it at the end. You know what I mean? And that I think is a big portion of what makes us so successful.
And the best part, like you said, like we all have different ideas for one thing, and at the end of it, all three ideas are put into it.
Exactly. And when we all listen to everybody, and I just love that. And no idea is a bad idea. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I dig that. So that's a well-deserved point for you, sir. You win. Do you know?
Oh, yeah. That's the only reason you wanted to do that. Oh, shucks. You'll make a girl blush.
I try as hard as I can.
Still didn't happen. I'm the dude. So.
All right, Jamie, that's it for the Codex Awards this year.
All right, guys. And as usual, please comment, like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell because, guys, 2021 is at the end and 2022 is about to begin. And we have so much more for you in store. So just be prepared. I'm ready to get you guys going, get these subscribers up. So please, again, hit subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we will see you in the new year.
And once again, guys, don't forget to hit us up on all the social medias. That would be Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, and right here on Twitch TV. And you already know what it is, but for those of you watching us on YouTube, that is twitch.tv/Codex Podcast. And don't forget, we got everything that comes out on the YouTube channel on a weekly basis for you. And like Jamie said, 2022 is going to be a blast.
You know what? To ring in the new year, I think we're going to give them a little bit of a sneak peek.
Ooh, okay. What do you got?
Guys, as of 2022, we don't have a complete date yet, but we will be also on Discord. So you guys can jump in the chats, talk to us about what we're thinking. We'll have some fun little who wins. We'll go that route, but Discord's going to be one we're jumping into. And there's a couple other ones that I'm not going to tell you guys because I'm going to give you Discord because I'm me. So,
well, that is a pleasant surprise. All right, Jamie, if there's nothing else, take us out of here, man.
All right, guys. Thank you once again for joining us here at the Codex Podcast for the first annual Codex Awards. be kind to one another. Sonny, I miss you. We'll see you in the new year, buddy. And everyone else, have a good one.